Hello my fellow Kenyans, habari zenu wa Kenya wenzangu. I'm your coach and the pioneer of Vision Total Football Kenya. Salamu alaikum ndugu zangu na dada zangu wa Kenya. Now, Ohaga's coded message to Football Kenya Federation. Ohaga said after ruling the case between FKF and the Kenyan Premier League on 15th of September 2020. That case went in favor of Football Kenya Federation, and it was about Football Kenya Federation cancelling the league without involving or without telling the Kenyan Premier League. Judge Ohaga said it was correct for the federation to cancel the election, and I agree with Ohaga. In regard to the prevailing situation at that time and the situation of COVID at that time, the league needed to be cancelled. But the thing that the federation did wrong is that it did not involve the Kenyan Premier League to make the decision of cancelling the league. And there are allegations that the president of FKF did that because he had doubt that if the league continued, the club that he's associated with in the name of Kariobangi Shark would have been relegated. This might be true or there might not be truth in this allegation, but that is not what we want to excavate today. My point here is that Judge Ohaga is correct in saying that the league need to be cancelled. But behind that, we know that the federation has been ignoring Kenyan Premier League. The federation has been doing what it wants, like if Kenyan Premier League officials are nothing, useless, and do not count. This is wrong, and I want to say this. In regard to the contract agreement between the Kenyan Premier League and the federation, which says that the Kenyan Premier League must run its affairs, must manage the Kenyan Premier League football, and must run the Kenyan Premier League football until 23rd of September 2020. That is what the contract says. But we know that since July, the federation has taken over the running, the management, and decision making and talking about the Kenyan Premier League. So that is wrong because in truth, the federation has violated contractual agreement between the Kenyan Premier League and the federation. Now, Kenyan Premier League may decide not to take any action. Kenyan Premier League may feel that they are between a rock and a hard place because the federation has negotiated a money deal with BetKing, and if the Kenyan Premier League start taking their acrimonies to court or their grievances, which are valid grievances, the federation might say that the money is not going to be available from the deal that they negotiated. So this puts the federation in a powerful position or in a superior position. And what the federation is doing in this situation is bullying the Kenyan Premier League. So that is up to the Kenya Premier League whether they want to take this on, the issue of contractual violation of contractual agreement. This FKF cannot stand in any court of land and say this was correct. It knows that it has violated the contractual agreement between the Kenyan Premier League and the federation. But as we keep seeing what is happening, the federation does not care about the stakeholders. It does not care anything. As long as they smell money, as long as the federation officials smell money somewhere, they will run that way no matter what is coming. Whether there's an oncoming train or what, they don't care. And this is why you see we get into this situation where we lost money in OB1. We lost money in dismissing coaches. The country has been put into this kind of situation because the federation really does not follow what it needs to follow. The officials need to think what they are really doing. They are messing the country's football. But now, what did Ohaga meant when he said that if the election does not have the consent of the sports registrar, he will not have any problem cancelling it again. Iende. What Ohaga is saying is this: FKF, carry on ignoring what you're being told. Carry on ignoring sports registrar. Carry on ignoring stakeholders. But if a case is presented here on my table, I will rule it on its merit, and I will cancel the election. So what Ohaga is saying, that is a coded message to the Federation. And I want to say this to Kenyans. Where we are heading now, the Federation is going to conduct election against the stakeholders, against most Kenyans, because we know that clubs are complaining already. It is not just the aspirants that are complaining. The clubs from all over the places are complaining. In fact, I have a county in Kenya saying they have 200 clubs and they have been ignored by FKF. So what does the FKF expect these clubs to do? They will end up in in Ohaga's courtroom again, and the federation's election is going to be cancelled. So Kenyans, prepare yourself for a fresh another 6 months to 1 year of these FKF elections and cancelled elections battle. Because if the election go ahead with all the unhappy people behind, something is bound to end up in court. And again, the election will be cancelled, and we will see another full cycle that like the one we have seen from last year, October, up to now. A new fresh cycle of this mess in regard to the federation's election is about to start. And the reason is simple. We have seen the electoral code. We know it is wrong. We have listened to the stakeholders. We know things are wrong. We have listened to the clubs. We know the things are wrong. Even the FKF knows that most things are wrong. But because of self-interest, and the federation want this election conducted so that the team blue can go back into the leadership. Their rush is to get into leadership. Instead of listening to stakeholders, instead of caring about Kenyan football, instead of caring those little clubs all over the place that are complaining, their eyes are just getting back into the office and calculating FIFA money and mismanaging the money that belongs to Kenyans. That is a priority to them. This other one is a priority to us. Now, I want to say this, Wakenya wezangu, like we have said, there is no answer except a peaceful football revolution. That is the only thing that is going to set Kenyan football back to the factory setting. That is the only thing that is going to put Kenya on the right path, and that is the path of transformation. Kenyan football does not need reform. There is nothing to be reformed. What Kenyan football needs is a transformation. Can FKF carry on transformation? No, because FKF itself as a federation need to be transformed. So how do you ask someone who need to be transformed to transform another person? No, it's not going to work. So the federation needs transforming. And this federation is not possible to transform it. The federation has only 2% correct. 98% is wrong. So how do we as Kenyans say that we can commit to change the 98%? Who are ujinga? What we need is to do away with this thing so that we can have 100% correct. That 2% is nothing. It is not worth counting. It is not worth reforming. It is not worth reconstituting. It is not worth resuscitating. Let FKF as a federation go and iende na isahaulike. Now, the issue of FKF saying that they are going to conduct elections according to FIFA statute. Listen to this. FIFA statutes are not enough for Kenya. FIFA statutes cannot run Kenyan football. FIFA statute cannot run Kenyan football elections because they have many shortcomings, because FIFA is like United Nations and it just deals with countries. So they cannot tell us an election that is good for countries is also good for clubs. No. So, but this misunderstanding, this issue of the federation lacking leadership and not understanding and not being responsive to the need of the Kenyan people and to the need of the stakeholders in Kenya, football stakeholders in Kenya, is what has led us to where we are. So Wakenya wenzangu, number 2, I wanted to interpret to you what Ohaga meant when he said, if the elections go ahead without the consent of the sports registrar, he will cancel them again. That is what actually is going to happen. But now, going forward, remember, football revolution is the only answer to our Kenyan football. Let us spread the message, the true message of a football revolution. We know that only a football revolution would have the capacity to transform Kenyan football. And this is People's-centered football. That is what we want. And the revolution is people's-driven revolution. That will mean every Kenyan is involved. Every village is involved. Every county. Yeah? Kila mahali patakuwa involved. People will see in the daylight what a peaceful football revolution mean. That is the way to usher in people-centered football in Kenya. Wakenya wenzangu, spread the message. Listen to the videos. Empower yourself. Empower your brother, your sister, your father, your mother, so they can also take part in the peaceful football revolution, so that we can usher in a new era for our Kenyan football. And our football will become meaningful, and we can claim our place on the world stage in matters football. My fellow Kenyans, I live in peace. I'm gone.